Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're jumping into Amos chapter 6.
hmm
Our aim here is to really unpack what it says about, complacency, privilege, and what happens next.
Yeah, it's quite a chapter. And it doesn't pull any punches, does it? It starts right off with this
Oh,
warning.
whoa. Who's it aimed at?
Specifically, it calls out those who are complacent in Zion and feel secure on Mount Samaria.
Oh, Zion and Samaria. So the capitals, right, Judah and Israel.
Exactly. And it gets even more specific. It calls them the notable men of the foremost nation.
Notable men. Okay, so we're talking about the elite here, the powerful.
Precisely. The leaders, the wealthy, the ones who felt, totally safe and secure, untouchable.
And the text, it gives us a glimpse into why they felt so secure, right? Their lifestyle.
No, absolutely. It paints a really vivid picture, almost decadent.
Okay, let's get into that. What kind of details does it give? Because I remember it being quite specific.
It is. It talks about them lounging around on beds inlaid with ivory.
Ivory beds.
Yeah, stretching out on their couches. And the food, feasting on choice lambs and fattened calves. The best of the best.
So pure indulgence. Is it just about food and furniture?
No, there's more. It mentions music, too. They're like improvising songs, comparing their musical skills to King David, even.
To David. Wow. That's quite the comparison. That tells you something about how they saw themselves, doesn't it?
It really does. Sort of elevates their own leisure time to something grand, almost royal. And it doesn't stop there. Drinking wine by the bowlful.
Not just a cup, a bowlful.
Exactly. Excess. And using the finest lotions. It's this whole sensory experience of extreme comfort and self-pampering.
But then comes the twist, right? Amidst all this luxury.
That's the core of the indictment. It says
Yeah.
they do not grieve over the ruin of Joseph.
The ruin of Joseph. What does Joseph represent here?
It generally refers to the nation, especially the northern kingdom, Israel. So while this elite group is living it up, they are completely ignoring, or maybe just indifferent to, the fact that their nation, their society is actually falling apart. The ruin.
They're blind to it, or choosing to be blind. The text also says they put off the evil day, right?
Yes, that's key. They actively push away any thought of negative consequences.
Yeah.
They live as if judgment or, disaster simply won't touch them.
A kind of willful denial.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And it seems tied to their pride. They apparently felt superior, maybe looking down on other cities that had already faced trouble, like Calneh or Hamath. They even boast about their own strength, thinking they conquered places by themselves.
But the text is setting them up, showing that security is an illusion.
Completely.
Yeah.
And then there's this other really sharp accusation about justice.
Right. What does it say there? It's quite harsh, isn't it?
It is. It says they've turned justice into poison.
Poison.
Yeah. And the fruit of righteousness into bitterness. So it's not just that they're ignoring justice, they're actively corrupting it, making what should be good and healing into something toxic and foul tasting.
So the very things that should hold society together, justice, righteousness, they've twisted them.
Exactly. Made them harmful. Maybe even punished people for trying to be righteous.
Okay, so we have this picture. Luxury, indifference, false security, corrupted justice. What does the text say is going to happen to them? The consequences.
They're laid out very clearly, and they're severe. The Lord, it says, detests their pride, hates their fortresses. The whole city, everything in it will be handed over.
Handed over to who?
To an enemy. And these very elite, the ones lounging on ivory, they will be among the first to go into exile.
The first ones.
Wow. Their feasts end. Their lounging stops. It describes terrible destruction, widespread death, houses smashed to bits. A foreign nation is going to oppress the entire land, from north to south.
Total devastation, starting with the ones who felt the most secure.
Precisely. The ultimate reversal.
So taking a step back, thinking about this ancient text today, what's the takeaway for us listening now?
Well, it's a pretty stark warning, isn't it? About feeling secure just because you have wealth or status or maybe perceived power, especially if that security means ignoring what's actually happening around you, injustice, suffering, the decay of things that matter.
Yeah, the people in Amos 6 felt safest right when they were most at risk because they were ignoring the rot within.
Their comfort blinded them.
Which brings us to a final thought from this chapter. It really hammers home the danger of that kind of security, that comfort built on ignoring problems. They tried to put off the evil day, but the question the text leaves you with is, does that ever really work? Or does ignoring reality just make the eventual reckoning even worse?
Something definitely worth pondering.